At the Savoy, Curtis throws a party for Trina before she heads to Paris. Trina says the best gift is knowing when she comes home that he may be walking again. Spencer arrives, and Trina thought he was coming with Kevin and his grandmother. He says they'll be here and are running late. Portia and Ava talk, and Portia admits Trina going halfway around the world for 4 months is going to be tough. Ava suggests they lean on each other when they get to missing her. Meanwhile, Stella and Marshall question Spencer about where he'll be living, what with Trina in the dorms, and what he'll be doing with his time. Trina saves him for the integration, and they go talk to Jost. Trina asks Spencer if he's heard from his father. Jost doesn't like Esme, but even she feels bad that Nicholas took her baby. Spencer tells Trina and Jost that he let his dad take Ace, shocking them. He admits things have changed, and he believes Esme has her memory back. He says he knows Ace is better off with Nicholas and far away from Esme. Jost asks if they should file charges against Esme, but Spencer says they only get one shot at this and there is no proof that Esme has her memories back. Jost says she'll find the proof they need. Spencer warns her to be careful as Esme's planning something, and it can't be good. Stella and Portia talk about Trina going halfway around the world with Spencer. Portia admits turmoil seems to follow Spencer, and it might be better if Trina goes to Paris without him. Marshall asks Curtis how he's doing. Curtis is glad to be out of the hospital, but Marshall can sense he's on edge about something. Curtis admits for the first time in a while he has hope he may walk again. However, if he can't walk, it will be like finding out he is paralyzed all over again. Later, Curtis takes a moment to tell Trina how proud he is of her, and they hug. Trina thanks Ava for everything she's done for her, including providing her with a list of galleries to go visit in Paris. Trina knows she wouldn't have gotten into the Sorbonne if not for all she learned from her. Spencer thanks Portia for including him in the party. She says it was Curtis' idea. Portia admits Spencer is no stranger to trouble, which seems to follow him, and she doesn't like the idea of it following him to Paris later. Trina finds her mom crying, and Trina says they said no tears today. Portia can't help it as her little girl is growing up and headed to Paris. Portia says she's in awe of her daughter, and she's going to miss her. They hug. Curtis eventually proposes a toast to Trina going to Paris. Molly stops by Christina's with a bunch of healthy groceries. She says that she's being too pushy to tell her. Christina says she's a Davis, so of course she's pushy. They discuss the implantation, and Christina says she'll take a pregnancy test in a few days to be sure and avoid false positives. On edge, Molly wants to take a test now and picked one up. Molly knows she's being pushy, but Christina gets it. Christina gets a text from Blaze and smiles, leaving Molly wondering who the text is from. Christina claims it's from Z, who works at Charlie's, and he's covering his shit for her. She talks about how close she is with the staff, and they got a lot. Molly feels her being pregnant is going to be such a change for her. Christina suggests they take that test after all. They take the test, and Christina reveals she's pregnant. They scream and embrace one another. At Maxie's, James can't find his fire truck. Maxie goes to help him look for it, and Felicia checks in with Spinelli. He says it's been fantastic living here with Georgie, and he thinks being here is helping Maxie make ends meet. Felicia agrees. Cotty drops by dampening Spinelli's spirits. Maxie and James come out from his room, and Cotty brought over a present for James. It's a new pair of boots, as his old ones are getting to be a little too tight. Maxie tells Cody these boots are too expensive. He says it's no big deal, and he loves seeing James so happy to be riding. James wants to try them on, and unfortunately, Cody got a size too large. He says he'll call the guy he got them from to exchange them, and steps out. Spinelli follows Cody out and tells him that he knows what he's doing. He accuses Cody of sucking up to James with expensive gifts as a way to get to Maxie. He laments James has had more than one father figure come and go from his life, and kids get attached and don't understand when they leave. Cody says he's only giving James riding lessons. He's not trying to romance Maxie. Spinelli knows he's a schemer and blackmailer, hiding behind his rugged cowboy charm. Cody smiles and says, "You think I'm charming?" Spinelli insists Maxie deserves better. Cody tells Spinelli he likes Maxie, but he's not his competition, and if he wants to date her, then he's not standing in his way. Spinelli says his feelings for Maxie died long ago, but Cody says his face says otherwise whenever he's back in a box so Cody can exchange them before James scuffs them up. James says they could sell them, and then his mom can use the money to pay the bills. He hears her talking about money problems. Maxie says it's a gift, and he shouldn't worry about money and leave that to the grown-ups. James runs out and drags Cody back in to play a game. Spinelli follows. They don't watch as Cody plays with James, and Felicia notes to Maxie how good he is with him. Kevin drops by the invader to find Esme working and distracting herself. She says she has been through this before when Victor took Ace, but at least he had Spencer then. She worries because Ace doesn't know Nicholas. She asks why Kevin is here. Is he checking on her? Kevin says she is family. She is his niece. Esme admits that still feels strange. Kevin asks why she didn't notify the police about Nicholas. Esme says Nicholas is still the boy's father, and they can't do anything. He asks why she didn't come to him and Laura. Esme reminds him that Nicholas left once before, and Laura couldn't find him, so what can she do? He tells her not to underestimate Laura. Kevin promises her that he and Laura will do everything they can to bring Ace home as she's a good mother. Esme notes, who does terrible things, so I've been told. Kevin says all they can do is move forward and do better. He needs her to know she can ask for help and asks if she wants to change. She wants to change and asks if he'll help her. He says all she had to do was ask. Esme begins to ramble off and pace around the room frantically. She grabs a statue from the shelf and clobbers Kevin over the head, knocking him out. She says she's not falling for this, and to save his pity for everyone else. Laura visits Heather in Pentonville, who claims to have information about Ace. Heather knows Nicholas took off with him as Esme told her when she came to visit her. Shocked, Laura asks why and when. Heather says sometimes a girl needs her mother. Laura thought Esme was terrified of her, so why would she visit her? Heather says she's distraught over Nicholas kidnapping Ace. Laura has spoken to the police, and they don't consider it kidnapping. Heather says that's why Esme came to see her, as she is the only one who can be trusted. Laura states she and Esme have grown close over the past year, but Heather says that was before she remembered the horrible things her family did to her. Laura asks when this happened. Heather informs her that it happened on Christmas Eve when Esme went back to Windermere, and it all came back to her. She didn't tell anyone as the charges would be refiled against her. Laura asks why she would put Esme at risk, knowing she's the mayor and has to report this. Heather wants her to because they'll put her in Pentonville with her mother. Heather explains she tried to convince Esme to leave town, but she wouldn't, and she's focused on revenge. She says Spencer and Trina are at the top of her hit list. Heather argues she knows Esme better than anyone, and the real Esme is just like her, and unfortunately like her father. She says Esme won't take her advice, and she is worried Esme will go after Spencer and Trina. Heather begs Laura to stop Esme before she does something horrible.